everybody, welcome back. If it's your first time here, hello, I'm Witty. It's so nice to meet you. I'm a full-time internet goblin on a mission to cultivate community through making and sharing weird games and art. And today I am so excited to talk to you guys about a game that I know you're gonna love. It's called... Let me try that one more time. It's called... Valka. There we go. Yes. And it's launching on Kickstarter November 7th, which is so soon. The link to that and everything Valka related is down below. So Valka is a strange, brutal, post-apocalyptic world. And within it lies a fast-paced, easy-to-pick-up battle card game that calls on you to lead your warband to victory. But how? That's up to you. For two paths lie before you. You can play the solo version, Lone Quest, or you can take your friends head-on in multiplayer. You may know terrible games from games such as Token Terrors or Black Mold, but today is all about their newest brainchild, Valka. It's a fun and easy game, and like Valka says itself, no action- wait, I gotta say it cooler. No action points, no card costs, no hand limit, no mercy. So let's hop right into the games. The art is so good that every time I'm drawing a card, I'm delighted to see what I get. Brooke's art is simultaneously gritty, but it's fun. Different images of his will conjure feelings all the way from Frazetta to R. Crumb. There's elements in his work of old school fantasy, of wicked sci-fi, of post-apocalyptic carnage. But it all comes together to make this really, truly unique style, and that is the style of Brooke Penrose. So while this game is a blast to play solo, more on that later, it really and truly shines in a group setting. It is absolutely a casual game night, beer and pretzels sort of game. I know it's gonna be a staple in my game night rotation. Listen, y'all know my interests vary wide, but if you've ever seen me play anything, you will know that deep down in my heart, I'm a barbarian. And yeah, I'm known for my positivity, but sometimes I just crave violence and a little bit of chaos. And you know what? Valka really scratches that itch. Terrible Games were also kind enough to send me the Dark Shadows expansion and the Familiars booster pack, which are both free gifts to campaign backers. You heard me right. Familiars, pets, faithful, benevolent companions by your side to help bolster your fighters and lend them aid in battle. I know I'm at my best with my loyal companion Archie by my side. He's pretty vicious. So in multiplayer, you've got a front line and a back line of your fighters. Playing from 3 to 5 friends, these come from totally randomly drawn cards. Playing with one friend head-to-head in duel style is a little more intentional. Either way, after you're done admiring the art of all the cards that you've drawn, it's time to pull your strategy together for attack. Having 2 rows of cards is really fun, and it gives you so many opportunities for adding cinematic narration to how everything's going down. Your front line is locked in and ready to fight to the very last breath, while your back line is more flexible, ready to be commanded to support the front line by any means necessary and take their place up front when the time comes. Your frontline fighters are on their way out. It's fun to look ahead and try to strategize, as well as experimenting with different buffs, spells, items, and traps. And if you set a trap, you get to hit them with a "You triggered my trap card!" So satisfying. Funny combinations of cards will have you narrating some truly ridiculous scenarios. For example, take Mungo, the barbarian, totally nude except for a huge beard and longsword, teaming up with Jack Crack, who, due to an unfortunate incident with the wizard he used to work under, now has a hand for a head. As you can imagine, the more people you play with, the wilder it gets, and the faster it gets truly out of hand in the most ridiculous way. The gameplay of Valka naturally encourages cinematic moments and a lot of laughing and yelling, and room to play your own way. Do you want to form an alliance with one of your friends against a player who's doing especially well? Go for it, but do so remembering that in Valka, there will be only one winner. Personally, overcomplicated math for me in a game is the quickest way to take me out of a moment. Nothing like calling out a cool cinematic move and having to pause the game to count nervously on your fingers while all your friends are waiting for you. Even just thinking about that stresses me out. But that's not a thing in Valka. It's smooth, simple, and easy to keep track of. Depending on your strategy, fighters can take out someone they're stronger than, or they can team up together. And if you're feeling really crazy, a fighter on their last legs can sacrifice themselves to do some damage on the way out, or you can let the fate of your fighters be decided by the dice, which, oh, speaking of dice, so for me I always associate a critical success or failure with a d20, but that concept absolutely applies to Valka and the d10s you'll be using. And when the stakes are high, those rolls can lead to a lot of cheering or a lot of booing, but either way, very entertaining. I love all the different characters and the fact that in multiplayer, you don't have to pick from just one warband. There is a cool mechanic called a warband boon if you do happen to have multiple fighters from the same warband together, but it's not necessary. They're just a super fun addition and another thing that can really turn the tides in a game. For example, if you've got 2 or more goblins on the front line together, then all of your frontline fighters have a +1 to their strike. It's almost like us goblins are just stronger when we're together, you know? Sometimes when I'm learning the rules to a new game, my ADHD says, no, and it all sort of blends together. But the nice thing about Valka is that not only are the rules clear, but there's a lot of visual aids, which for me is super helpful. And if that wasn't enough, they have a YouTube that has short and really simple tutorials on how to do each thing in Valka. And honestly, once you play around, it all clicks together and you'll be playing in no time. And speaking of time, a game lasts anywhere from 15 to 45 minutes. So it's not a huge time commitment, and then you easily just package up everything right back into the box. Thank you so much to Terrible Games for sponsoring today's episode and letting me join in on the fun, which is Valka. Despite what the name may suggest, Terrible Games is my favorite kind of company. A small group of friends coming together to bring life to seriously unique, creative, and genuinely fun games. In a world where a lot of games can honestly feel like soulless, repetitive cash grabs, Valka is such a refreshing game that while it's obviously brutal in the best way, it is clearly designed with the intention of bringing people together. Sometimes in a game, the solo version can sort of feel like an afterthought, which is not the case in Valka whatsoever. It is a completely different experience. Playing Lone Quest feels like a little self-care time, like a treat, like an opportunity to just step back and instead of focusing on the day-to-day, be present and creative and go on an adventure. It has the super cool Lone Quest player aid, standee, and the world map, which really adds an element of immersion when you're playing on your own without having the energy of a group. In this version, you're choosing a complete warband rather than just picking random cards. I just played with the barbarians the other night and it was really fun. I really liked their lore. But in my latest Lone Quest experience, I decided to guide my sweet goblins to victory, and victory we achieved. We came across many a trial and many a foe, but they were no match for us. But please, let's take a moment of silence for the loss of little Tom. They were too good for this world. Out of the Lone Quest event cards, which are all exciting and really varied, 2 really stood out to me that I want to tell you guys about. The first, Cave of Wonders, basically was a choose your own adventure card, and I loved choose your own adventure as a kid. On the side of the mountain is the notorious Cave of Wonders. Tales of strange visions and the voices of dark eldritch beings heard here by the bravest or most foolhardy have reached you in the south. You may enter at your own risk. Okay, so being a curious little goblin, I did bring my warband in there. And you know what? We failed our fate test and we did get a little anxious, but that's okay. These things happen. But soon after, I pulled my favorite Lone Quest event card. It's called Time for Yourself, and it reads, as it is a lovely day, you decide to go fishing. It is very relaxing. I actually kept that one out of the box as a little reminder that sometimes you need to just stop and rest and take some time for yourself. So if you peruse the Valka site, which I'm telling you right now, you definitely want to do, you'll see the different warbands on there and you'll be able to check out some of their lore. I really recommend doing that, especially before undertaking a warband on a Lone Quest game. You may be drawn to certain characters purely from aesthetics at first, but if you dive into all the backstory, you may find yourself championing warbands that might have not been your first pick. Heads up though, they're all really cool. I was lucky enough to have a chance to chat about some of the lore with Brooke, and it's so evident the amount of excitement he has in this world that he's created. Oh, by the way, all the music that you've been hearing in today's video, it's from the Valka soundtrack. Yeah, this game has a soundtrack, and it's made by Brooke, and it's really good. It's the perfect addition to playing whether Lone Quest or multiplayer, or just getting other work done. Let me tell you, it rules. And you know what, actually, Valka dance break time. This game is just so immersive. The fact that there's already this amazing world and its lore and these characters and their backstories, their enemies, their allies, and there's now a soundtrack, that's so cool. There's just so much value here. This is a super fast-paced, fun, chaotic party game to bring to game night, where it's also a super immersive RPG flavored solo game. All from people who clearly really care about what they do, you know? I know for a fact that this game is going to be taking up some of the coveted suitcase space on my way to Adepticon. So again, hop over to that Kickstarter, share it in this video, just spread the word of Valka and support cool, weird, independent art. Independent games rely so much on word of mouth and community, and to me that's part of what makes them really, really special. Taking time to put our phones down, to turn our computers off, and to connect either with ourselves or with our friends is really, really important. And that's a beautiful thing that games like Valka can give us. Alright, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. I really hope that you enjoyed this episode. I would love to hear hear if there's a version that you're most looking forward to playing, or if there's a warband that is potentially already your favorite one. Thank you everybody so much for watching and sharing this. Thank you so much to Terrible Games and Brooke for letting me be part of it. It really means a lot. Okay guys, I'll see you in the next one, but until then. And don't forget that you are currently making the world a better place just by being you. Like your superpower. So keep doing that. Bye guys.